This year's Southern Baptist Convention will serve as a litmus test for the Republican Party and conservative ideologies. The convention, made up of evangelicals and church leaders, has shifted right politically, and the organization has become a significant voting bloc for Republicans since the Obama presidency. Prominent black pastors, such as Reverend Dwight McKissick, who recently joined our show, have threatened to or have already left the Southern Baptist Convention over racial issues like the debate over critical race theory and the organization's loyalty to Donald Trump. While Southern Baptists recently elected a moderate, Professor Ed Litton, who vows to, quote, build bridges and not walls, as their new president, the group still has to wrestle with its history. Being on the wrong side of race is not new for Southern Baptists. The founding fathers of Southern Baptist's flagship institution, Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, were all slave owners. And in 1861, the organization drafted a resolution that aligned its churches with the Confederacy. In 2018, Southern Baptists released a report on the role racism and support of slavery played in its origins. The report read in part, the seminary facility supported the righteousness of slaveholding and opposed efforts to limit the institution. A number of seminary's prominent trustees advanced public defenses of slavery. And on the topic of white supremacy, the report also said that, quote, the faculty called for justice and sympathy for blacks and supported the ministries of black churches and schools, but they defended the white rule and the disenfranchisement of blacks based on the doctrine of white supremacy. Will Southern Baptist new leadership be enough to curb the growing ultra-conservative fraction of the organization and take action to atone for the organization's racist history? Joining us to discuss is author and professor of religious studies at the University of Pennsylvania, Anthea Butler. Professor Butler, thank you for being here. So, this is a big question. Oh, absolutely. This is a big question. But, give us a little taste of how deeply embedded racism and white supremacy is in the Southern Baptist Convention.
I mean, the whole convention started through slavery. They broke from Northern Baptists because they were slaveholders and they did not want to give up their slaves. It's pretty simple. It's baked in, and as I said in my book, White Evangelical Racism, The Politics of Morality in America, that this is a feature, not a bug, of American evangelicalism, and it is definitely a feature of Southern Baptists. And I think you have to understand one of the things that happened at the convention in the last couple of days was that they started reading off some of the things that they had promulgated back in the 19th century, and they were about what we do about the coloreds, or what do we do about the Negro, and all of these different rules and regulations that they had that they wanted to rescind. But these things have not been rescinded. They've been on the books since the 19th century. And they are really steeped in this whole racial situation that we are dealing with right now. So I think we need to understand that even though there was a new president who is supposedly moderate, you have a huge faction of Southern Baptists right now who are just like the slaveholders from the 19th century, and they really don't want black people to be anything else but subordinate to them.
I think it's sometimes shocking for people to just come to an understanding of something that is kind of clear if you think about it for just half a second, but that all of the institutions that we now venerate were part of the upholding of white supremacy and all the way back to slavery. That is the business that I'm in. The newspapers helped to support and uphold white supremacy and enslavement in the South. The educational system did it, and so did the churches. And I think that it's just a hard thing for people to grasp that it was the church institutions, the good Christians were the ones who were supporting enslavement of black people just as much as anybody else.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that people need to understand is that that same Jesus that they pray to is the Jesus that they were being told that well, you'll get in heaven in the great by and by, and that's when you're gonna have some shoes, and this is when you'll be free, and for the rest of the time you need to slaves obey your masters, as it says in Scripture, right? And these things were used against people, and I think one of the things that is really important to remember is that for evangelicals, and especially for Southern Baptists, the way they think about race and racism is, well, this is theological. This is about sin. It's not about structures. It's not about the structures of sin. We don't participate in structures. We participate in things that are going to be, uplifting to people. And so if you're racist, you're just a sinner, right? But it doesn't cost you anything. So, in other words, what I'm saying is this: the ways in which people let churches off the hook, like Southern Baptists, for racism plays into exactly what they want you to think. In other words, sin is the only thing that's happening. It's not about anything else.
What do you make of, just speaking more broadly, what do you make of this huge shift of evangelicals towards Republicans, and specifically towards former President Donald Trump? Like, he seemed to me to be everything that church people preach against. If they are trying to be more Christ-like, this guy was, not that at all. How do you make sense of it?
Yeah. Well, it's easy for me to make sense of it as a historian. So let me just break it down real quick. Donald Trump is not anything different for evangelicals. What was great about Donald Trump was that he gave evangelicals everything they wanted, but they've been racist all along. And I hate to say it like that. It's like, everybody would say not all evangelicals, but here's the thing. Evangelicals have always wanted power. They have used morality as a way to shield the public from understanding what it is that they wanted, what was social and political power. And so while everybody was paying attention to, pro-life, or wear your dress is too long, or homosexuality, or we don't like same-sex marriage, evangelicals were amassing power, and they were amassing money, and they were amassing ways into the political system. So by the time that Donald Trump comes, everybody's surprised because evangelicals go after him. But this was already there. They went after George Bush. And if you notice in one of the articles I wrote this week, I talked about how there's a chart where you can see how evangelicals even got closer to the Republican Party from 2008 forward. They were already there. They've already been there since the 1980s with Ronald Reagan. But now, when Obama came into office, they made an even closer alliance with the Republican Party. So by the time that Donald Trump came in, they were all hands on deck because they did not want to see Hillary Clinton, who everybody had been told to hate for the last 20 or 30 years because she was Jezebel, okay? That's what they did. So, this relationship between Trump and evangelicals is an important one because he gave them what they wanted: power and 3 Supreme Court judges and over 200 judges.
So then, how does this play itself out? Generally speaking, the more religious people are, the lower they are on the socioeconomic scale. That's just the way the numbers break down. High religiosity correlates to lower prosperity and wealth. But how do they make, going forward, how do they keep making those people slavishly devoted to a person or a party that's handing out money to billionaires left and right, or through tax breaks, or to a billionaire president who wants to come back and be president? How do they make them stay devoted to that? And if they're not stay devoted to it, how do Democrats break in and make the message clear to them that this is not moral, that this guy is not moral? Or do they not care about that?
Let me break this down into 2 parts. First of all, the way that they keep all of these people is to make them fearful, okay? So they are fearful of Black Lives Matter. And somebody said on Twitter, if you just put in Black Lives Matter for critical race theory, you got it, okay? So critical race theory is the buzzword that they're going to use into 2022 to get evangelicals out to the polls to vote Republican. They are telling our children that, they're terrible because they were slave holders. Now, that is not what critical race theory is, But it's important to realize that Republicans are using this as a way to mobilize evangelicals and other Republicans to get out the vote in 2022. And I'm just going to say it right here, the Democrats are not ready for this, because the other part, which is really important, you talked about how these people don't correlate with lower incomes. That's true, but whiteness trumps all. And then the second part of this is that if you think that evangelicals don't have money, this is the mistake. You have Family Research Council, you have American Family Association, you have Focus on the Family, you have all of these Christian orgs that are lobbying on Capitol Hill. And I bet you Joe Manchin, who you talked about in your previous segment, gets money from them. They have tons of money. They are able to mobilize. They got mailing lists. They got Facebook. They've got everything. Well, and they know how to get people out to vote. Democrats are not ready for this.
The organizations have the big bucks, and I think Democrats are going to have to be on the lookout for that. Anthea Butler, thank you so much. This is amazing. Thank you for coming on and joining me tonight.